Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 389. I got a good one this week, actually. I had a couple of interesting topics here, as well as a couple of guests as well. One's actually coming to us from I think a hotel room, maybe. This is we got Broken Games with us today. BG, how we doing?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite. Hopefully, this hotel Wi-Fi holds up. Let me know if there's any problems. Maybe I could switch to my phone signal or some shit. But glad to be here to hate on Concord, like Gene said.
Okay. Hey, there it is. Yeah. Concord's in there. We got it. Even if like the video, if it's just like your audio, it's fine too. But we can hear you pretty well right now. So I think you're gonna be good for the show. And we also have Gene Park joining us as well.
How's it going? Good evening, everyone. Nice to be here on the non-live Spawncast, which is a different environment. I'm used to seeing the chat just pop off whenever Sean talks, so this is going to be
it's either when he talks or when he stands up, one of the two,
or does anything, I guess. So.
Yeah. How you doing, Sean?
I'm good. I lost track of time. I'm playing Command and Conquer still
on the N64.
It's a good version.
Gosh. Okay. You're playing Command and Conquer without the mouse.
It's fine. I made it work. I've been stuck on this mission today, but then I figured out there's like a way to go around and into the back. You just got to blow up the sandbags. So I'm almost done with the mission, but I'm here for this now.
Okay. Thanks for pulling yourself away from Command and Conquer and hybrid heaven.
No problem.
Celia, how's it going?
Pretty good. Happy Friday, guys. Or Saturday to people watching.
Saturday. Happy Saturday. Happy 1 hour extra day. Yeah. So like tonight we'll fall back an hour. So
time travel. Let's
god damn it. see, so I'm from the islands, the Pacific Islands, and we don't do that shit out there. So
Oh wow. Okay, so it's good now. It's terrible in the spring when we got to spring forward. When we fall back, it's like, oh great. It's like an extra hour for me to pretty much be unproductive and do nothing anyway. So
so this has been like a lifelong struggle for me. Every time I'm living in the mainland of the United States, the continental United States, it's always weird.
I love that shit, dude. It's like you take a nap in the middle of the day, you wake up, you're like, oh shit, it's like 8 or 9 o'clock. It's like 4:45. It's pitch black out. It's like, yeah, I got the rest.
I love it too. I love this time. I love this time of the year. So
yeah, Sean. His naps.
I didn't nap today.
Oh well, wow. Okay.
I couldn't. My car cleaner didn't come till later. He's supposed to come this morning, and I've learned that he never comes in the morning. It always means the afternoon. So,
dueling first world problems over there. MG, how you doing?
I'm doing great, John. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on. It's great to have Gene and Broken Games on as well. Thanks for coming through, guys.
Yeah, good to see you again, man.
Of course, people can check out the Spawncast network. We have that over on the patreon.com/Spawncast. I did get some questions as well from the community there that we'll go over later on. But check it out. We do have Click R3 just went up actually yesterday. So there's a lot of content there dropping. And I believe we have Game and Talk next week as well as Direct Xbox. So there's like a lot of stuff going up actually in terms of threads for people to post questions and participate in the show as well. But what I'm going to do today, I'm going to start off with a few questions, and there was one that came up, and Ryan and I kind of brought up a Click R3. I ran a poll, and we were kind of unsure which way it would go. It has to do with the PlayStation startup sound and what everyone thinks is the best one. And I did throw in the PSP only because I don't know anyone who has ever like the PS4 startup sound is it. Never heard that brought up before. So I threw the PSP in there. So PS1, PS2, PS3, or PSP. What's the best? What's the best one to you? What's the most iconic one?
PS2. What do you? Is this even a question?
Yeah, actually, it is because when I brought it up, go ahead, MG.
PS2.
Okay.
Yeah, PS2.
Okay. Well,
does anyone think it's not PS2?
Yeah, raise your hand.
I think it's
actually, there were many people who were like, obviously, it's PS1.
I think it's PS1 for me. I don't remember what the I forgot what the PS2 sounds like. So.
It's the extremely loud noise that then fades back out. It's very like electric feeling.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes ambient.
What the hell?
I don't know if I can play it. I don't know if it picks up the sound here. I mean, I can look up the. If you heard it, you would remember it.
I'm sure I'll remember it, of course. But yeah.
because I think I ran the poll, and I feel like on Twitter. What was it on Twitter? I think Twitter and YouTube were slightly different.
Twitter is not a real place, though.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it sounds great, but I like how loud the PS1 version is.
Well, the PS1
it's
just sounds like the Bose.
It's like a white screen and it's like a nuclear blast in your face. Like
it's the Bose surround sound intro. That's all it is for PS1. It's almost the same thing. It's just boom.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have PS1 in a close second, but for me, it's PS2. I think.
Okay, Twitter. It's close between PS2.
Most people are PS2.
Yeah.
Let's see what it was over on YouTube.
Because I didn't have a PS1 until like much later.
Okay. This was kind of contested a bit back and forth on online. I think in our comments it was too. Let me see. Yeah, so it has PS2 is leading on YouTube as well as on Twitter, but it's pretty close on Twitter. It's like within 2% of each other.
That makes sense.
No,
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't remember how the PS1 sounds like too. So
yeah,
I don't remember how the PS3 sounds, honestly.
Oh, like that symphony, man, that starts up. You don't remember that with the wave coming across?
Yeah.
That's got some classic to it.
That was cool.
Yeah.
It sounded like an orchestra setting up in your living room, right?
Yep.
Hey, you're about to get an experience here. Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
I
we had that in the
game.
the PSP. I mean, that was, I don't know. That's a fun handheld one, but it's kind of cut short compared to the others. It's a very quick, like intro. But I guessed it'd be PS2 would be the one that most people would pick. Looks like that's holding out. Another question. This one, Sean, you did a video on this. I covered a little bit too because of the recent stuff that was going on with game preservation. And how we had a ruling that is kind of strange because it seems to lean into the idea that you would have people take advantage of it and set up virtual arcades almost to where it's just recreational, and they're concerned that if you went to emulate, say, a very expensive game, that there would be an exception that would then be taken advantage of for everyone to do it. And the concern has come up about game preservation and some of the efforts now, and if they're good enough currently or not, because they cited that most of the time we get reissues of games. So you have a company that'll just remaster or re-release something. But is this something we'll look back on in like 15 years and be like, man, we really did not think this through, or we weren't forward thinking about keeping these games preserved?
It's never going to happen. In theory, it's a good idea. In theory, there are way too many moving parts when it comes to old video games, as far as monetary parts, licensing parts, all that sort of stuff. Like it sounds great. It sounds, it's world peace. World peace on paper sounds great, but then you realize I can't even get along with my neighbor. How am I going to have world? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's a good idea, and it's something worth bringing up. And, to have, Congress or whatever, like, acknowledge it to some degree, like, yeah, that's good. But in the same breath, you also have to realize that victories in this are going to be very small at best, I feel. And, the real things that we need to focus on are things like archive.org, EverDrives, focusing on that sort of stuff more so than we're going to change the world sort of thing, because it rarely ever happens. It's a very different industry than something like music, movies, and all those entertainment forms, because they've been around for much, much longer.
Okay. MVG, you're the other big retro, really in the retro stuff, a lot of the older stuff even.
You're the old man of the show.
Well, what do you think, MVG, about the ruling obviously wasn't great for the idea of preserving some of these more expensive, harder to find games. But what do you think about the preservation efforts currently?
As long as there's ROM sites available, John, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah,
okay.
Pirates don't give a shit.
Pirate away. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
I'm not saying pirate away. All I'm saying is, as long as there's ROM sites that are available, everything will be fine.
You do what you got to do. If you're not selling me, this game, or you're not giving me a way to play this game on your modern platform, then fuck off. Like, I'm going to play it however I get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about the the secondary market, the reseller market. Like Nintendo doesn't care about them. Sony doesn't care about them. Sega doesn't care about them. They're not making any money from these games. So what difference does it make if I buy it from a reseller or if I download it, if you're not offering it to me any other way?
Okay, fair enough. And PS5 Pro's out this week. Gene will, I believe, have thoughts later on this week, so you can keep an eye out for that. He's got coverage coming, but he is not.
It's sitting right next to me. It's right here. It's right here off camera, but I can't even show it to you, which is weird because everyone already knows what the hell it looks like. So
yeah, that's true. They showed I think they let people take a picture of the box. They're like, "Hey, coverage coming later." So that's about it.
That's pretty much it. I've already attached my disk drive to it, though. So the state of game preservation in my household is good.
There you go. well, it's look out for coverage from Gene. He will have some later this week. All right. In accordance with embargoes and the whole thing. So keep an eye out.
I can't talk about what games I've been playing, but it's Alan Wake 2, Horizon Forbidden, the both Horizon games, The Last of Us games, Gran Turismo 7. So just I've just been just putting it through
loading up Rebirth.
Gene, without breaking any type of NDA embargo, is Silent Hill 2 one of those enhanced games?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Rebirth is, but it's not patched yet. So
okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, because I actually started up and I was like, well, what the hell is this shit? It looks exactly the same. I was like I was about to say waste of money, $700, and I was like, oh, it hasn't been patched yet. That's fine.
Well, it is out this week. I want to get everyone's
what the hell was John Linneman talking about? That's what I was talking. That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
John Linneman was the guy who was like, "Oh my God, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is like a whole new game." And I was like, wrong, but it's fine.
Well, that was one of the first games I was gonna download and check out because that's the one that was so egregious to me when I saw it on the regular PS5 with performance mode, to the point where they released multiple versions of the game in performance mode to try to just appease everyone. So that's when I would go back to. But I know MVG, you're getting it. I'm getting it. I believe BG's getting it. I think that's it. Yeah. So how you feeling, MVG? 5 days out? 5 days out?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about it. I'm going to tear the thing apart and see what's inside of it. Of course. I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those situations where right now it's probably not worth the investment, but hopefully, it'll get supported and we'll start to see some enhanced games going forward. It's more of a wait and see approach on this one. But, look, I think, if the features that they are advertising are as good as they say they are, then I think it's going to be a pretty awesome system to have. But man, that $700 price tag, it's hard to justify it, honestly.
I usually I get pretty excited when we get closer and closer to hardware coming out. I haven't necessarily felt it for this as much, and it might just be because there's not like a brand new game necessarily that's only playable, something like that. Like, hey, here's a new experience coming. So that maybe that's why, but we'll see. When I get it set up and maybe the games look and run better, I'm like, okay, this is actually exciting to see again. So we'll see. Did you move over to your phone?
Yeah, this might be better.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That'll work. How you feeling? 5 days out from the PS5 Pro.
I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I mean, look, for me, the PS5 Pro is for the same games that I would play the base PS5 on. It's for games that just don't go to PC day one, really. That you just have no choice but to play it on, a PS5. That's really what it's for. It's not for most situations for me. It's for those honestly kind of niche situations, and I'm okay with that to have better performance.
So like GTA 6 coming up, console first, PS5 Pro.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, anything Sony money hats or makes a deal with or exclusive. Yeah, it's for those situations.
Oh, Wukong will be another game to test. Let me write that down.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one because that thing started looking crunchy towards the end on the PS5.
Yeah. That was pretty rough. So I mean, let me know, guys, if there's any questions about the PS5 Pro.
I will give you one thing, Gene, and I think Ryan was going to test this, but
yeah,
the idea of it making PS4 games just run better, just
Oh, yeah.
in general.
Oh, don't worry.
Um,
I have a whole
okay.
I have a whole drive of PS4 games ready to go.
Okay.
So
Just wanted to throw that out there.
I've already tried. Yeah, I've already tried a couple. So interesting results. But
Well,
see.
let's get into some of our topics here, which I did put this one in because Celia mentioned it, and I was like, I didn't think anyone else was playing this. But you know what? I'll drop it in there because I did mess around with it a little bit here. This game, Pokemon TCG.
You're literally wasting the hour you have with me to cover this.
Whoa,
Sean,
Sure,
do
this
you not
has
like Pokemon?
10 million downloads in 48 hours. 10
What
million.
what does TCG stand for?
Trading
game.
card game.
Exactly.
Sean
You
doesn't
hate
like card
cards?
games anything.
your
Marvel's
parents
Midnight
not
Suns
buy
come
you
out. He
Pokemon?
threw it away.
I didn't play.
What?
I played Uno and I played like War.
We were too old. I think Sean and I are around the same age. I think we were too old when the card game came out.
It is.
I
not
played
for
Magic
me.
back in the day. So
Yeah, I was gonna be like, I'm pretty sure there were TCG like when you were younger.
yeah, Magic
Um,
and a couple of sci-fi ones. A lot of Magic ripoffs, but Pokemon hadn't really started yet.
Oh yeah, of course. Sean, you didn't collect baseball cards or anything?
That's
Collect
different.
Wrestling cards.
No, that's like the same thing.
I'm not
except you just look at
battling.
it.
I'm not battling a baseball card
But
with another
I
card.
mean,
I'm
Like,
slabbing
I feel
it.
like
Sean.
half of the population that collects
it's more than
cards
that.
like Pokemon or more than that, I don't know.
I bet
they
you
just
it's like
look at them.
75%.
Oh,
Okay, 75%. Just look at them. So like that's the same thing as your baseball card.
Yeah.
So why are you hating on one when it's basically the same thing, except you don't get cool foil ones and
He does
they're
get
not
cool
cute.
foil ones.
Because
do?
one is a game. One is
Uh-huh.
a game. One is
The
a
other's
And what's
a
the other
game.
one?
The other's a
Serious
game where you
Business?
play against collectors in the market. Yeah.
a collection.
Yeah. So there's
It's
obviously
different.
something. Sure.
It-
But yeah. Do you want me to talk a little bit about the app, or how do you want to go about
Go
this,
for it.
John?
You can. It's incredibly popular. Like I said, it's like 10 million downloads in 2 days or something, which is absolutely ridiculous. Go ahead.
You just want to put it in the title so you can try and get some
Hey,
Hey.
maybe Go ahead.
Pokemon kids.
Hey,
watching.
this is
Hey.
I've been
I
quiet
put
for
it
the
dead
past
center,
12
center of the
minutes.
thumbnail. It's already up there.
I had
See,
nothing to
Evan's
talk
already on
about.
it.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, so basically for it, it just recently came out. It's card collecting, as Sean said, but unlike what Sean said, it's really cool. I was expecting it to be primarily most of the newer cards, because like when they're advertising it, they were using like the newer styles. I had written in my notes like, oh, like the new cards are really cool looking, but they aren't like how I remember them to be. And I have that nostalgia. And then I opened up my first pack and they had the OG Meowth card. And I was like sold with this game. They have the originals as well. And I like saw a bunch of them from Gen 2 and Gen 3 that I have in my collection. So I got addicted immediately. There is some gotcha aspects to the game. Because when you open up packs, you use up like the little hourglass
stamina.
thing. Yeah, the stamina. And you can skip ahead by buying like a premium pass. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just wait it out. So every 12 hours, I get to open packs. When you hit level 3, you can do a battle, like you unlock the battle portion of it because you have enough cards to play. I am currently at level 2 because I just started this. I just found out. So I will be able to play. I'll probably post on my Twitter my friend code. You can have up to 99 friends, which I think is lame because there's so many people that like Pokemon. It'd be really cool to have like a huge, like, I don't know, Facebook sized friends list of people you can play with, but whatever, it's fine. And apparently they're going to be adding a trading feature eventually soon, which is one of my favorite things about Pokemon. I was one of the goofballs that looked at, like, collected cards and just looked at it. So I don't know how to play the game. So I would love to just trade. And then one thing I'm kind of thinking about is maybe if I do learn how to battle and I get good at it, there's something called Pokemon Worlds, which is basically like, and it's like in a different area and it's once a year, I think. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong because my friend went to it. So I just learned out about Worlds. But anyways, basically you can play, like, there's like online games, there's inline, like there's like the app-based games, there's the card games, obviously, and the video games, and people compete and like you can win prizes and it would be really cool to participate. Yeah. So, okay. It also has a correction. I've known about Worlds, but I didn't know exactly of how, like, what they did there. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. Maybe if I get really into the game, I would like to compete. It'd be cool. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. I'm excited.
I'm almost level 6 in the game.
Oh, you're bragging.
And well, I've also been doing some of the battling. I used to play them all I used to play the cards all the time back in the day. I actually use them to battle, whereas most people would put them in the binders and just like flip through them all the time.
Yeah, it was me.
And I like the mechanics of it. Then the battling in this is very simplified. It's like
good.
they've shrunk a lot of it down. It's faster. They try to get you through a battle in like a couple minutes, to be honest. It's very quick, which is fine. The thing with me, though, the reason I don't like collecting these cards is because whenever I see people online mention how many cards they have to buy, and then the fact they have to store them somewhere, it's like a mountain of like Xerox boxes behind them trying to store it all. I'm just not. I don't want that. So this is just easy to. It sorts them for you, the whole thing. I don't have to do any of that. That's all. So, and you're right. I don't spend any money in it. It basically throws booster packs at you constantly. So
yeah,
unless I'm going to be serious about battling, which I'm not, where you're like, you said you go to Worlds. I'm not interested in doing any of that, but it's enough. You get a couple booster packs a day and you just flip through them and it's like, oh, cool. I got that holo and that's it. So I see the appeal. It's fun. It's free. That works. So I recommend people check it out. It's a fun little time waster.
MVG, you should check it out. Seems like you would really enjoy that.
Yeah, we could battle.
Think it's up my alley, Sean?
I think
we
so.
can't get MVG to watch Dragon Ball.
Smart man.
Is he?
I'm right there with him.
All right. Well, let's get into a opposite end of the spectrum here. Dragon Age is out now. Oh boy, is it out. Gene, you've played quite a bit of this.
Yeah, I became woke. I became woke during the process of playing it.
I did. I woke up today too. It's about 4 hours or so. I think is what I've played in. Actually, I mean, the time on the PlayStation dashboard is always like half an hour to an hour different from the in-game time. I think in-game is like 3 hours, 46 minutes or something. So I'm almost at 4 hours. So unfortunately, as people tell me, I've seen online, 10 hours and the game starts getting good. It's like, yeah. it's one of those. Okay.
Yeah. So how do you feel about your 4 hours now?
I feel like
it's not good, right?
I didn't really. That when I went into this, I thought, you know what, the opening segment, I assume is what they showed us. That when they first showed it to us, right, it was like, or they're trying to stop the person doing the ritual. I was like, that's probably the opening of the game, and it was. I thought, you know what, maybe after that it starts opening up a bit more, and it hasn't. It's kind of like a hallway that they have the illusion of, it's wider than what it looks. It's like, not really. You have some paths here and here that's gold and treasure chests, and that's kind of it. It's an action RPG, kind of like Kings of Amalur a little bit.
Yep.
Okay, a little bit of that. It also kind of, because I came off of, not recently, but like Final Fantasy 16, kind of reminds me a little bit of that too with the combat. It's like that mixed with Kingdoms of Amalur. You have companions that you press a button and all of a sudden you can have them throw their skill at an enemy, or they'll just run around the battlefield and attack stuff for you.
Which, to be fair, is more usage of your party than Final Fantasy 16 offered. So there's that.
That is true. It was. Yeah. 16 was very focused on just your character alone. So I am kind of in that holding pattern right now, Gene, of, okay, if I feel like eventually this thing will get better, but right now it's not impressive at all currently. But it's also not super offensive. It's like, it's just fine right now. It's like, I've played something like this before. I'm going to keep pushing to see if it does anything to really wow me.
The final boss. Hopefully this gets better.
The character models are kind of strange because sometimes they look really good, and then other times they attempt to express an emotion, and it's like, wow, this is weird. This is not working. I do wonder if it'll age better, like 10 years or so from now. I don't know.
You think it's a return to form, John?
I'm gonna say, well, return to form would probably be like Dragon Age, for me anyway, probably like Dragon Age Origins, and if that's the return to form, then no. But I guess people who are big Inquisition fans, maybe.
Okay.
Inquisition wasn't exactly a pause, everyone's gonna have their turns done and stuff, then we're gonna resume action kind of game either. So
So Sean is referring to this conspiracy theory that all the reviews receive some kind of talking points from EA/BioWare corporation to talk to say these talking points, and a lot of the reviews did say, "quote unquote," this is BioWare's return to form. And I'm just here to say it's not a conspiracy. There's no any kind of NDA or anything like that. We didn't get any NDAs. There's no NDAs involved in getting review code. You know what? I didn't even know that I had a review code for Dragon Age Veilguard. So they just gave it to me without me and even signing up an NDA or anything like that. So just to clear the air, there's no NDA process or embargo process or anything like that. I mean, there was an embargo, but there's no one signed anything. And secondly, everyone said "quote unquote" return to form because there's just a lot of bad writers in the video game media industry. I think we just need to say that there's just a lot of bad writing out there. So people are just relying on cliches.
Yep.
They say things like, "Oh yeah, this game is a mixed bag," or if it's a 10 out of 10, "Oh, it's a master class." You know, you'll see master class being repeated in many like high rated reviews. So it's just bad writing. That's just all it is. And so dunk on that, you know, dunk that. Talk about how bad the writing is, you know. That's a fact. But you don't have to draw up conspiracy theories to tell people that
seems to be the popular thing to do.
Yeah.
The discourse around this game has been weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. Very strange. BG said he was having an issue with his connection. I think he's going to come on next week instead. That's the PS5 Pro episode anyway, so it'll work. We got you in here though. Yeah, it's hard not to notice.
You bored him to death with a Pokemon shit. He doesn't fuck with that.
Mm-hmm. How dare you, Sean? Pokemon's great.
Yeah, he got bored of Dragon Age. That's what it was.
Fair enough.
Yeah, man. I played the first 4 hours and I was like, this game is not good. I don't like this game. The writing sucks. It is a hallway. It's very much like closer to like Final Fantasy 13, if anything, where you just go off a pathway and you know get a treasure chest and you go along. You have an escort through your missions, and they have a big old checkpoint over their head, like the Ramirez from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and you have to follow them around to complete the mission. There is a mission start point for each of the quests in Dragon Age Veilguard. So all that stuff takes some getting used to, but like a lot of reviewers said, I'm actually taking like the Paul Tassi journey, I think, right? Because Paul Tassi didn't like Forbes didn't like this too, and he said around 10-12 hours he started liking it. It's kind of hitting around there for me too, where I'm just kind of just playing the game and the groove is going, and it's like, you know what, I kind of like the combat. It's kind of cool, just going off away from this hub and just going to these areas, and a lot of the areas do repeat, but that's fine. You know, it kind of gives the world like a lived-in place where you do have to return to some places, so that's okay. You know,
not gonna lie, it sounds a little like Stockholm syndrome. Just a little
like
you're stuck with it for like 12, and you're like, you know what, it's okay.
Maybe
I'm okay with this.
That's the thing. Like the art style, I hated it. Everyone's head is too big. Everyone looks kind of like a freak.
Oh,
and then
that's what it is.
Yeah, everyone looks freakish, right? And then I was like, but you know what? I don't really see a lot of games, fantasy games, with people with big ass faces and big heads before. You know,
that still keeps it in the Stockholm though, because you're like, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's okay.
I'm not arguing with you at all, Evan. Like I've been wrestling with that question myself the past 2 days, where I'm just like, is just coping and seething? Am I just really coping? You know,
the game's just beating you down so hard. That's the new form of game. Just beat someone down so much they're like, I guess I'll finish.
So like, question, because like when I was thinking the same thing with it being Stockholm syndrome or like sunk cost theory or something.
Mm-hmm.
What changed from the 10-hour mark to the 11-hour mark that made you start to enjoy the game?
Didn't he just say he gave up? I thought I heard that.
No, I didn't give up. I'm still playing.
He just gave up on it, not enjoying it.
Yeah. I gave up. I gave up. Stop having fun, right? And I was like, I should just choose to have fun.
It's Death Stranding all over again.
It kind of be that way because nothing really changed all that much. The writing is still kind of bad. But then I started to remember, you know what? BioWare's writing hasn't always been that good, honestly. You know,
this is fine because it's always been bad.
It's always been like Dragon Age has always been kind of cringy. Like it did have MCU style quips or whatever. Mass Effect was kind of cringy where they had because there's an exchange in Dragon Age Veilguard where my character goes, well, that's awkward. and I'm just like, oh my fucking god, you know. But then you go look at the old clips, and they're like, they actually did do that. So the stuff just doesn't age well, you know, in terms of the writing. But yeah, and also like what Skill Up says, Skill Up's review has made the rounds, right? YouTuber Skill Up. But what Skill Up said about everyone being too nice is also true, because you can't be really mean in this game.
I was trying to be too. It wouldn't work.
That's why so here's where I'm thinking that the game is actually starting to get its hook into me. I rolled a new character, you know, because I was like, let me try to be mean, you know. So I do try to say all the meanest stuff now, and you can't really be mean. There is a guy whose whole shtick is that he has a demon inside him. Like he's got two personalities, right? And then sometimes the demon will come out, classic Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde, or Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde kind of stuff, right? And then when he has one of his panic attacks, I chose the main character. I said, look, I'm not really comfortable with having an abomination in my house, okay? I called somebody an abomination. That's kind of a mean thing to say, right? Like that's almost as worse as a slur, right? Like, why would you call someone that? And then he turns back to me and he says, sadly, well, it's not very comfortable being an abomination. And then my main character says, oh, Lucanus. Like, dude, you just called him like a slur, and then now you want to backpedal? You know, like it's so the writing there is just weird. But you get used to it, you know. Like
at some point you just let go and you're fine with it.
You just get used to it, and you're like, I guess this is just the world that they're creating right now. That everyone here is just really nice, and it's
I feel like in Mass Effect you could just be a jerk.
Mass Effect, Red Shepherd, was a complete asshole, right? Just like out of pocket sometimes, you know.
Yeah, but even there, it sort of ended the same way in Mass Effect, because if you were a complete asshole, you got the same result with the final boss in the first game. You just said something different. Yeah. Like it was just the same goal, but just different direction.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to figure out if my decision or my choices in these different dialogue trees, I'm trying to figure out if they have any actual like
probably not
ramifications, Gene. I'm not sure. I mean, you said you re-rolled and you went back. I don't know if choosing it gave you anything different.
No, okay. you get like the next part of the dialogue is immediately different, and you know, as far as from what I hear, I think the choices only really matter, quote unquote, all the way up until the end, I guess, for your ending. So they're just going like the Deus Ex route or the Mass Effect 3 route, I guess, you know, the infamous Mass Effect, the red, blue, green ending route or whatever. But to continue Celia's question, as I was playing, I just started to enjoy like the action combat more. Like I was like, you know what, this is just an action RPG, and I'm just gonna go with it, right? And then, you know, again, like when I realized like, oh, this is just like Final Fantasy 16, but I can control my parties though, and I can actually like think about whether they're healing me, or I can choose which enemies they're gonna attack. So it's like, okay, well, we haven't actually, you know, this is obviously not Dragon Age Origins, and definitely not Baldur's Gate 3 at all. Baldur's Gate 3, you can just kill one of your main characters within the first 5 minutes of the game. That this is just not a reality that Dragon Age Veilguard does at all. These are completely different types of games. So once I let go of all of that, and I was like, you know what, this is not a bad. One of my favorite games of all time is the Capcom beat 'em up, Shadows of Mystara, the Dungeons and Dragons game. And I just always thought, why don't we just make more of that? And that's what this kind of is. It's just a really kooky Shadows of Mystara with people with really big heads, and I'm enjoying it for that pretty much.
Okay. Yeah.
I gave my guy long hair, and the hair technology in this game is really, really cool. So it's like, okay, well, I might as well spice up the game a little bit more and make it look cool. And then, like, you know, there's no real game that has hair tech like this. So I have Elvin Sephiroth. I'm running around as Elvin Sephiroth.
I will give him that. The hair physics technology is like next level stuff. Like it's impressive.
It's actually fun to look at all the time, you know. So like maybe that's part of the Stockholm syndrome, where it's like they're just dazzling me with these graphics and the special effects, and it's like, you know what, maybe I am clapping like a seal, you know. Maybe it is kind of fun.
I love the thought that if the people from that team are watching this, there's gonna be the one guy in the room who pushed for good hair stuff. He's just gonna be in the back like, fuck yes.
I like how John is trying to be an authority on hair, mind you.
Take your hat off.
My hat? I got a hair, pal.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, I always wear hats. People think I'm bald. I'm not, John. I have good hair.
Mm-hmm. Well, for now.
But
Besides, by the
doing
time
well
we
on
can make
Steam?
fun of you for that, we'll get in trouble for it. Another 3 years from now. Once you hit 40, it's all over, Sean.
I'll be 40 next year.
Get ready.
Uh-oh.
Fuck.
Get ready. I do want to come back to the Dragon Age thing a little later on with some of the stuff around the discourse, but Sean is here for like another 25 minutes, and I wanted to get his opinion on Nintendo Music because I will give you this, Sean. Hey, he's just asking questions. I like it. I like it. I like it. You know, I like the back and forth. I do. So Nintendo Music is now out. Free app, technically. Nintendo Switch Online required, but that's how they worked it in for phones. But it's basically Nintendo Spotify. They have tracks for a range of different games, specifically across basically all generations. Even menu music is in there for the shop channel and some other stuff. They just added Super Mario Brothers Wonder to it. So I don't know what the cadence is for this. I think they mentioned the next game will be going in next week. So they are at least like maybe accelerating more than what we see with games for NSO. But Sean, you had a different, I think, a opinion or viewpoint on this than what I saw many people say, which were pretty excited about this. You were kind of like, I don't get it.
I don't get it. There's a thing called YouTube that has had all of these songs forever on there. I don't understand why there's not an application for the Switch as well, at which people say, well, who wants to listen to music on blah? Spotify is on your Xbox. It's on your PlayStation. Why would you limit it? People have good home systems. You need a application for a video game console to play online, but you cannot use this application on your console that you are paying to play online for. It's only for your phone. I'm just saying it would be nice if it was on both. I don't understand why that's such a crazy question. And I don't understand why people are acting like this is the second coming of Christ when this music has been available forever on your phone via YouTube. And you can listen to it the same way. You could be the guy in the grocery store dancing around. Look at me. I'm picking up a tomato. I'm listening to Mario music. And you get more of the music because it's a limited amount of tracks. There's not going to be third-party stuff on there and stuff like that. It's just going to be first-party Nintendo. So, like, it's in and of itself, it's fine. But it's not, to me, like a huge revelation and like a huge deal that people need to get excited. If PlayStation did this, would the reaction be the same? If Xbox,
I think they put their games on Spotify. Like they put music on Spotify, I believe. PlayStation did.
Well, let's say they didn't, just for the sake of the conversation, or you know, whatever. If another company did this, I remember like, oh, that's cool. But with Nintendo, it's like, oh my god, I gotta react to this. Like, bro, calm down.
Do you think that's just how iconic a lot of their IPs, characters, music, all that is?
No,
it's
I think
it's a personality
Yes.
reaction.
Yes, it's just an overreaction for the sake of overreacting because you have these fucking hype beasts who hype up every goddamn thing in the world like it's the second coming of Christ, and that's their whole personality. You know what? I at least have a little respect. I don't like the hype beast mentality, but I at least have a little bit of respect for the hype beast people who understand that. And they're open about it. They're not trying to be, you know, like a critic or something. They're just there to make people happy and excited. That's fine. I have a problem with the people who try to act like they are not that person, but they really truly are. Anything that comes their way, I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but anything that comes their way, it's just like, oh, this is the greatest fucking thing ever. And it's like, if you like it, that's cool. But I mean, I don't know. To me, it's not a big. I'm not going to listen
There's
to
too much joy in the world. Sean's got to take it down.
It's not joy. It's you gotta be realistic about things because it just makes you look like your emotions are just like what are you fucking doped up on, like fucking happy pills and shit all the time? Like I don't know, man. If you
I-
enjoy
jump
it,
in?
that's cool.
I want to
You
jump
can.
in on this.
Of course you do.
So, okay, so I feel like the guy who hates Pokemon shouldn't be commenting on
I'm
the
sorry.
Nintendo app.
Wait. Are
So-
Pokemon songs on there?
Maybe they will be one day. I don't know. I can't download the app because I mooch on the Nintendo Switch online. I was trying to find it on the App Store on Google Play, and I couldn't find the Nintendo app. So I was like, oh, I guess maybe when I say Nintendo app, I mean Nintendo Music, but it might be just attached to your. I don't know how to find it.
Oh no, you say it's well. How do you have your NSO set up? Is it part of like a family plan?
I'm on my friend's family plan.
Yeah,
so...
you can do it. If you search for on Google Play, you search for on Google Play, it'll pop up Nintendo Music, and they say specifically you can use the family plan. It works fine.
I couldn't find Nintendo Music at all. That was the problem. I found the Nintendo app, but I couldn't find music.
I had to, it didn't come up at the top. I had to like scroll through it and find it.
That's kind of great when the official app is not considered like.
That was also as soon as it launched, like right away.
Okay.
This is my. Sorry, go ahead, Celia. Sorry.
Sorry, I have a few things. If it's oh, I might be a little wild. I'm sorry. Okay, so just jumping in on things. So Sean being confused why this exists. So Nintendo always likes to have their own ecosystem that's in their control. And, you know, though there are other and easier ways to have things on there, like Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, if that still exists, I don't know, but like I know there are other easier options, but it's such a Nintendo thing to have their own ecosystem, and that's just kind of how they do things. And like with their licensing program, their philosophy is including their characters and finding new ways to include their characters into their daily lives. And music is something that they've been very protective over, so it's kind of cool that they're putting it somewhere accessible. And I saw their marketing. I don't know if it's up yet because I can't access it yet, but now I know how to, so I'll definitely download it. But like there's Nintendogs. I haven't heard Nintendo reference Nintendogs officially in years.
That's huge.
And I think that's really, really cool. And another thing that
Nintendogs is our Bloodborne in Nintendo. So
yes, it's
sad.
important. It's very important. I love it. You ever have that thought that your Nintendogs are just sitting there lonely and you haven't checked on them in a while? I think about that.
I mean, if it's been over a year, they're probably dead, right?
No, they're not dead. Someone tweeted at and I freaked out and I checked
dead
and
and
they're
rotting,
fine.
covered in their own feces and vomit.
Just walk into the house and there's just fur and vomit everywhere. And it's just
Like it says you did this, like all like in scraps. Yeah, I just think about that. But yeah, I think that's really cool. And I saw that there was a feature where it could get rid of spoilers for like end game tracks, which I think is really awesome. That's actually really smart, and I really enjoy that they have it on there.
That's cute.
While I do agree that we should have it on Nintendo Switch, we'll see where the ecosystem goes with that. Maybe that'll be something that they incorporate later. So when like that show's on there, then we'll have something more to talk about.
Celia dropping bombs. Videos coming out Sunday. Oh, it's meant for Switch too. They're preparing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, on disclaimer. Hi, I do not work for Nintendo, and anything I say is me speculating. I do not know anything or blah, 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 blah. But anyways, for me to speculate even more on that. Okay, in the Nintendo ecosystem, if you're looking at everything, they typically do not like to have things that you can't access on their on console. So if they have Nintendogs, are they going to have a Nintendog game? I know nothing, but I really, really want that.
There's also Star Fox 64 on there, and don't hold your breath for Star Fox. But I think my favorite feature about Nintendo Music is how they didn't credit any of the composers of it. That's
to stop you right there. Feature. While I do agree that like in the West, we credit everyone everything, and I think that is fantastic, and I think that should be something that's adopted worldwide. In Japan, when you create for something, typically you accept, and it's well known and commonplace there. Not saying that it's right, but it is commonplace to not get credited because the focus should be on the company. It's not the individual, it is the group. So. And though that is not done by every single company, that is typically the norm for those companies. But I do agree that we should highlight the composers because composers are awesome and they're a great part of our industry. And I would love to know more by name.
Nintendo, let me just jump in here real quick too, because I have a little funny anecdote about Koji Kondo, the composer of Mario and Zelda and Donkey Kong and all of our favorite Nintendo music. I actually had the great opportunity to meet him and interview him in February. It was an exclusive interview.
Awesome.
And I asked him a real simple question. I was like, what other kind of music do you listen to, or what have you been listening to lately, right? And his only answer was, I really like the music in Super Mario Wonder, and I like the music in Zelda.
That's like John.
It's just that's just the Nintendo culture. It's like, oh, I love Nintendo.
What do I do?
I was kind of hoping he'd be like, I hate music. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, and then that, which is funny because this was in Vegas. This is where I actually met MVG too.
Oh yeah, this was DICE. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a DICE. And then later that night he went to they took him to the clubs, so he can absorb like club music.
Sitting in back.
Yeah. So don't be surprised if next Mario game ends up sounding like.
Is that why Mario Wonder was such an acid trip?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Good music.
Gotta get
It
him out to
changed
some
his
metal
brain
concerts. We get some
chemistry.
Doom Mario.
Exactly. So the next Mario or the next Zelda soundtrack is going to sound more like like Little Dirk or whatever. I don't know who Little Dirk is, but I'm just saying
He
Little
in
Dirk.
jail.
Can
Oh, isn't he in jail?
Oh.
Yeah. See, well, there you go.
Can I give you my
MVG.
take about this stupid music app?
Thank
No,
you.
Go for it.
Thank you.
This is my problem with the music. There's nothing inherently wrong with the music app, right? But they're doing the same bullshit they've done with NSO. They're going to drip feed you like a couple of soundtracks every couple of months, and you're paying for this service. You're an NSO paid member. Why the fuck don't you have access to their full library? Why are they drip feeding you a couple of soundtracks every month, adding new things here and there? Where's Perfect Dark, the most iconic N64 soundtrack ever made? Where's that?
Wow, that would be great.
Collect
And-
groceries to that.
And I
we
have
have
another.
we have to wait potentially for something that may or may never come. It's the same thing with like NSO. They give you a couple of games whenever they feel like it. They're going to do the same thing with this. They're going to just drop a couple of new soundtracks. This is I don't know why people like put up with this bullshit. Like if you want to access Nintendo's library of songs and you're paying for the privilege, then they should give us everything that's available to them. And you could say, well, they need time to curate this stuff. That could be true, but weren't they talking about this at an investor meeting like a couple of years ago, or like years and years ago, about like their music is very important to them and they're going to find ways to make that available to people? Like I feel like this thing is just another half-assed app that they've put together to just kind of add some type of value to a service that really doesn't really have that much value. Go ahead.
It's also being said that this is potentially a clone of YouTube Music. Now, Celia, you said that in Japanese culture, that's where the non-crediting of things seems to orient from. But what about if it was a British developer, UK? Like a British person composed that the game was made by a British company. Do you think
like Grant Kirkhope?
David Wise, Grant Kirkhope.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, okay, first off, I didn't say that it was like the right thing to do. Also, I am not an authority on Japanese culture. I just know that that is commonplace. Just commenting for the comments before they roll in and call me out.
They like you
but
more than me.
Okay, fair enough. But like,
Yeah, they're
come
gonna
on.
probably roast Sean for this section.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
Mr. M motherfucker. This is the greatest app ever. What are you talking about? You need to get rid of RGT.
Oh, I'll be reading those comments. Let's go.
Can't wait. We should include that in Mailbag.
Because the reason I bring that up is because Donkey Kong Country is on there
No, I feel
for
that,
Super
but like,
Nintendo.
but that guy, he's not the one that owns the company. Like, to be honest, like even if it's like a British person, okay, cool, but he's not Nintendo. Nintendo is a Japanese company.
But they
so,
just
like, I
published it. It was developed by Rare.
Yeah, I don't
Rare
understand
made the game.
I don't understand what you're asking me.
So why isn't he credited?
Because Nintendo is a Japanese company. It doesn't matter if it's okay. From what I said, did you think that it was per game and that's why they're not crediting it because it's from Japan? No, it's a Japanese company and that's just commonplace there, and they're the ones publishing it.
Yeah,
I don't understand. You're like, but what if the guy is from California? Like that has nothing to do with this conversation.
It should. It's Nintendo's company, and right or wrong, it's not a judgment on what they do is right or wrong. but that is what they do. It's kind of like how, when Bezos says the Washington Post is not going to endorse anyone for president. We can argue all day about whether that's right or wrong or whatever, and certainly a lot of people have. But at the end of the day, it's his company. He can do whatever the hell he wants. So
Thank you.
I will say, Sean, having the composers there, I think would just make that better, because for discoverability, let's say there's a composer you find through a song, and then you're like, oh, how about I just set it to shuffle any song this composer's worked on that's in this app?
That
Like
would
that-
be in the expansion pack version.
Why can't I have a Koji
There we go.
Kondi playlist?
It'll be
see?
$1 more for your account per month, and then they'll let you have access to that.
I will bring this up. All this stuff happening right now where they're like, oh, look, you get this for your account now. You're getting the expansion, the N64 games we keep adding in, the Super. I think Nintendo is setting it up for that price increase soon.
Now, well, they
Where's my
released-
Sega Genesis stuff? They haven't done a Sega Genesis drop in forever.
That'll be the
maybe next
third
week.
price increase.
Now, Nintendo just released Alamo, which is another device that connects to a Nintendo account. Now, can you access your music catalog from the Alamo?
Oh, that would actually be kind of cool, MVG.
Oh, well,
be dope.
I guess they half-assed the app then, didn't they?
yeah.
Well,
When I had to buy my N64 controller at Nintendo NYC,
Yeah.
I had to like give my phone verification to show that I'm signed up for Nintendo Switch Online.
Just
And
got
then,
hers on the
you
black
have to
market.
log in and show us that you are signed in, and it has to say Gene Park on it.
That's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
oh. I
Wow, they were doing that to the
12 buying. I
N64
feel like I'm
controller?
12 buying Grand Theft Auto 4 again.
we bought Josie got her N64 controller in like the back alley at Too Many Games with $100 bill.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah, the music app is there you go. It's an add-on for NSO. We'll see how they treat it going forward. We did have Xenoblade Chronicles X also get announced. It's all kinds of Nintendo stuff this week that wasn't the Switch 2. Sean, this is your favorite Xenoblade game. You've been calling for the Xenoblade game for what feels like years now, and this does, I think, complete the Xenoblade franchise on the Switch. They're all there. If you buy a Switch, play all the Xenoblade you want. It's all available. And I will say, this is the one that when it first came out on the Wii U, I think that holiday I got it. I played then over the span of like 4 months or something. It was like almost half a year playing it to get it done. I haven't played it since.
Yeah,
But it's been a long time.
same. I played it on the Wii U, and I actually booted it up on an emulator, and I don't know. I literally just did like the intro field area, and then got to the city, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I wish it would come to the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they did some work to this thing. There's comparison shots of it. It looks kind of like that
Censorship.
similar-
They censored some titties. I heard.
Well, here's the interesting thing about the censorship call. The frame they have there, you can actually change outfits before then. So people are arguing
Thank
back and forth
God.
that they may have just changed the outfit specifically for the marketing there. So people should maybe slow it a little bit on that, just because it might end up looking bad in the future. But it is coming out March 20th, 2025. So we're 5.5 months or so away from it. And I'm excited for it. Go ahead, Silly.
Okay, so I've never played Xenoblade in my entire life. Whoa! Oh no!
Wow,
Okay, which
interesting.
one do I start with?
Start with one.
Because
it's
I
Xenoblade.
don't know, and
Xenoblade.
just the
Chronicles,
first
yeah.
one.
Xenoblade Chronicles
Start with
Where can I
Definitive.
play it? Is that? I'm confused.
Switch.
You say
It's all on the Switch. Everything's
All
on the
on
Switch.
Switch.
all on the Switch.
Yep.
So it's just Xenoblade, and that is the first game. Sorry,
Yep.
it feels like the Zeldas where there's 800 of them, and it's like, where do I start? Kind of.
Oh no,
thing.
you're fine. Yeah,
Which is
Xenoblade
1, 2, 3, and
Chronicles-
X. And X is a completely separate story. This is a separate world, and 1, 2, 3 are the trilogy. I won't say more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're connected. So like, I can't play 2 and then go to 3 and then play
I
1.
would not.
It has to be.
You could,
Uh-huh.
but I would not recommend you do that.
I wouldn't play
especially if you
2
want
at all.
to. If you want to hear about the story. So,
And then are they ported to the Switch or are they redone
Switch.
completely?
all on
Well,
Switch.
two and 3 were made specifically for the Switch. Definitive Edition is technically a remaster remake of the Wii version, and now we're having Chronicles X come over from the Wii U. Same similar treatment, remaster remake kind of territory.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you would
So
say
I
the
would-
Switch version's the way to go then.
Yes, Definitive Edition on the Switch.
Okay.
And it's very good. I would start with that one and see what you think of the franchise.
And the
Okay.
Monado.
Don't worry about the side quest too much. because the game has like 1,000 side quests. So just be warned on that, and just don't worry about it too much. So
Just be like, nope. They'd be like, I need help saving my, I don't know, child, and you're like, nah.
I would
later,
just like
nerd.
look up like how to deal with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 side quests and just like take that advice, because it's
Okay.
probably good.
It wouldn't be a bad idea if you
Sounds
start with
good.
that one, Celia, and then you just go to Chronicles X when that comes out in March. Because Sean's like saying don't play 2 because 2's like, I'd say it's a low point out of the 3.
Okay.
So
Okay, that gives me somewhere to start then. Thanks, guys.
I think 2 is great, but it's got some issues for sure.
yeah, I think 1 and
Very
3 are just better,
blurry.
so.
Very
Yeah.
blurry.
Well, it was like
Yeah.
a Switch launch game, or almost. It was within that launch period.
Yeah.
It's December, I think,
Yeah.
right? So it's like 9 months after the Switch came out.
Right. Yeah. And the resolution for that is like 360p or something. Like really
cute.
crunchy. So
Yeah, your characters don't have faces in handheld mode.
it's tough. Yeah.
You can't see it. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
weird. So
So I'm
maybe that's
excited for the Switch 2 and to play the entire series.
Mhm.
Wow, that's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, that's the big thing about this, Celia. The impressive thing about Xenoblade is Monolith's also very good at getting a lot out of like lesser hardware with the worlds they build. So you'll probably be pretty impressed by how big like the world is in the game when you're running around in it. It's
Okay.
impressive stuff.
Co-developers
Cool.
of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yep.
So
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I have like a few games I need to play before it, but I'll definitely jump in before March. So
because like the Zelda team like went to Monolith and were like, we don't know how to make an open world. Please teach us. And Monolith did, and that's what Breath of the Wild became.
Oh,
Very
wow.
talented
Wait, and
studio.
so the new one comes out in March. Is that what you guys said?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just making sure I didn't make that up. Okay.
Very talented studio.
Mhm.
So
Cool, cool.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun to go back to and check out.
I can't wait. I tried to play it recently in the last year, so I busted out my Wii U, and it's just like Sean's experience. I'm just like, I wish this was on the Switch. Like I feel so stupid playing the Wii U with the goddamn gamepad, and like the game uses the gamepad a lot. It's basically it's an almost required second screen experience, except that you can actually kind of deal with it. But you know the menu system is just worse if you try to just do it on one screen. Really, really long game. You get a mech in it, which is huge, and the mech can transform into a car or an airplane, which is amazing. And you can do turn-based battles in the mech and get in and out of it and shoot guns with the mech or inside the mech, which is incredible. You don't get the mech until way, way later in the game.
Yeah, it takes
So
a
keep
it
his
takes a
hearts
while.
boiled.
It's like 30 hours or something, isn't it?
But I mean, it's on the
It-
fucking
it's-
cover.
Yeah.
It's on the cover, and,
It's in the
you don't get
trailer.
the mech until 40 hours into the game, bro. I can't
Good old
believe it.
scales.
And yeah, I played it again Wii U in the last year, and yeah, sure enough, it took me again another 40 hours to get to there. And then once I got the mech, I was like, I feel like I beat the game. I'm not gonna play this anymore.
Sean, real quick before you leave, Monik Zide says, you know you're a slob when you DoorDash so much that you get lost in a McDonald's drive-thru.
I've never been to that McDonald's.
Sean, can you send me the coordinates to that McDonald's? Because I want to see what this drive-through looks like.
No,
Because if it's
I
like
cannot.
in the woods, like in the boonies, and like I don't know,
No,
there's
it's
a
on a-
bunch of
it's on a
pits
bu- it's on
everywhere
a-
that you have to
it's on a
like make
busy
maneuvers.
street. It's on a busy
Is
street.
it part of another shopping center? You'd have to pull into that center and then
It
drive
almost-
all the way over.
Okay, so when I get food from there, it comes and says your McDonald's is independently owned, and it really looks like there was just like a little stinky plot of land, and like somebody bought it and was like, "Yo, we're putting a McDonald's here," because there used to be a McDonald's. Because I live near a mall, there used to be a McDonald's in the mall, and then that shut down, and then this I think was built in place of it, and it's like it's literally just like a little sliver of land. Like there's like the parking is atrocious. Like it's ridiculous.
Okay, so for independently owned, McDonald's is a franchised restaurant, so a lot of them are independently owned.
Right, I'm just
and
saying what it
that's
says
part
on the
of their
motherfucking bag.
marketing. So no, I'm not saying. Okay, anyways, I'm just like, okay, never mind. I don't know how I'm gonna respond to this.
Sean versus the
yeah,
drive-thru, man.
Show me. I want to see how difficult it is.
I don't know if you're worthy of
Not
saying it.
How dare you?
Solve the McDonald's.
Okay,
riddle.
Sean, you can go watch her next now.
All right, goodbye.
Hi, Sean.
Thank
See you, Sean.
See you, Sean.
We should recruit the guy that finds you tell him like a very vague
geolocator
description
guy?
of something. Yeah, we should bring him on the spot, like Spawn Wave, and like just do the whole thing. I think it'd be really cool.
What, have him dox all of us just in sequence? I know the paint in your background. I know where the last time it was sold. I'm gonna.
I almost spat out my water.
Yeah, that was close.
That was incredible. Yeah, that'd be great.
I do want to double back quickly to the Dragon Age thing again, because I mentioned the discourse around it just being bad. It's just so weird. It's just
Every game is like this year, isn't it? Hasn't it been sad, right? It started with like Xenoblade, right?
It's just the loudest minorities.
Everyone's really mad about a lot of things, like the Sonic thing about Rouge. That was cool.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it sold 1 million copies already. So I don't know.
It doesn't stop the Sonic community from finding her attractive. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I did see that they censored Amy's face being shoved away by Sonic, which does suck for me personally. Because
not like Amy.
No, because you know, like the whole thing in Sonic is rejecting Amy, and you know, but now she's just holding up a bunch of cupcakes instead. So.
Yeah, like I feel like that should have had more noise than Rouge's back. Like,
right? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, like.
The Dragon Age one is just the latest. That's like, I mean, almost deafening at times. I noticed even Digital Foundry, they just did basic tech analysis on it like usual, and their comments were crazy about this game. And it seemed to have this blow off of, and I responded to it. There was this NDA write-up thing that got posted online that somehow then implicated Colin and Maddie. And it was the most obvious fake thing I've ever seen, and somehow it's spread as real. And I just don't understand how that happens. Like it was crazy, some of the stuff going on that day with all of this, to where Colin had to do a whole bit on his podcast that he just put out today just to try to dispel it. And if you read it, it's embarrassingly bad. Like the write-up came from 4chan. I don't know why it's even shared.
Well, people want to hate, they'll find any reason to. Doesn't matter if it's true or false. And this should be a wake-up call for a lot of people who lean into this. It won't be. So we're going to keep going.
I don't know. Like looking on a different note, very different note, like whenever there's a fake Nintendo Direct leak and it's like listing someone's little fangirl wish list of like what they should release, it felt like it was the same writing quality. I didn't read through the whole thing, but it just looks like someone who's never A, been a part of the industry, B, ever read a legal binding contract of any kind. Just
never seen a legal document.
Yeah, ever in their lives, and just like tee-heed it on the internet. And I don't know if it says, just people just want to hate, or it says that people's reading comprehension skills are concerningly low. I don't know. But it kind of sucks because it really did implicate other people, and it's stupid.
Here's
like
my theory.
Be mad. Oh, sorry, what's that?
Oh no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
My last thing is like, but also like, there are some criticisms with the game, like Gene, you were talking about how you're Stockholmed into liking it. And I feel like it diminishes actual people having productive conversations about their experience with the game, where it dilutes what the actual information should be out there. And I don't know, it's just stupid. Okay, continue.
Yeah, I have a crazy theory about this, and to be clear, conflict of interest or whatever. I work with Colin, and Manny's a good friend of mine too, so they're both implicated in this. But for me, here's my crazy crackpot conspiracy theory. I don't think a lot of people know, but the shitheads on 4chan and Kiwi Farms don't like Grumps. They despise him, and they think that he is a lolcow. The shittiest parts of the internet are laughing at Grums, and I'm wondering if someone gave that to him to make him look like a fool.
Like fed him the information. Yeah, well, even so, you would look at that and just, I mean, the cursor.
Grums is the idiot that looked at that and thought it was real, right? I'm wondering if the people who wrote it, because it's so bad, right?
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's so obvious at first look, and then some people were asking me, how do I know? It's like, because I've seen hundreds of embargo signings, and I'd say NDA and embargo signings are different. Handful of NDAs, tons of embargo stuff, and they're all done through DocuSign where you hit buttons and like none of it is done in Notepad. It's very important that it's done in PDFs that can't be easily edited because you can't just start changing terms after signatures are flying around. And I don't get it.
That's why the cursor on the page was a giveaway. You know, you can't.
Oh, yeah.
These aren't editable documents. You can't just like go in and just like just fucking tab your way through the sentences. You know, that's just not what this is. You know,
it's just strange. It's just strange. Like I don't get it. I think people are looking to be angry at a lot of stuff right now, and this is Dragon Age is up there. But the thing I don't get is if I wanted a game to do poorly, I would just stop talking about it. Like if that was my plan, was like, how do I make this go? Like, how do I do that? Oh, well, I just won't talk about it. Instead, it seems like advertising it quite a bit online just by discussing it has I don't know how this game is going to do commercially in the long run. I don't know if it'll ever get to Dragon Age Inquisition, which got 12 million copies sold. EA was shocked at that. They couldn't believe it. Like, whoa, how did this happen? But I wouldn't be shocked, depending on how this game does over the weekend. It wouldn't shock me if, let's say, it cracks above 110,000 concurrent players on Steam, just as a number. And then next week, EA shows up with a press release saying, hey, it's the fastest selling Dragon Age game in history. That actually wouldn't shock me because it needs 1.5 to 2 million copies sold to do it. That's all it needs.
Yep. I mean, for the recording, it cracked 77K 2 hours ago.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
nice.
So it's climbing, and it's Friday, so
Yeah. So it's something that wouldn't shock me, but the thing that is concerning is that would shock a lot of people online because of, just a lot of misinformation. Sorry, it is. It's just a lot of poor information online flying around right now. And it's a weird time for gaming discourse. It is.
So I have a friend who's outside the gaming, like I guess Discord sphere. He doesn't have a Twitter. He's just a normal person that I know from college, like 10 years ago. Amazing. And he kind of likes games. And he posted about the Discourse and was like, did Fox News say something? And he thought, and I've seen a couple other people assume that it was because of Fox News, that they were mad at video games. And that's why people are review bombing Dragon Age and doing all these things.
No, we're just doing it to ourselves now.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just so weird to see people. And then all the comments are like, oh, well, if Fox News hates it, then I'm going to buy it. And so I think so I was just watching, I was like, okay, cool. I've never seen this happen before. And I don't know if this is I'm in a gaming echo chamber because all of my friends are in gaming and I'm on Twitter and all that. But it was really interesting to see someone, I guess, from a casual side of things, react to the Discourse in a very interesting way.
I feel like the most casual interaction with this would just be to see a trailer and then be like, oh, cool, and then just buy it or not. That's got to be the watermark that no one thinks about anymore. It's just
that looks boring. I guess.
Yeah, we're just just moving on.
Because that was my thing when I saw the Dragon Age Veilguard trailers. I was like, ooh, I have to fight the Dark Elf. That's another reason why Veilguard didn't come off so cool for me, because I just finished Metaphor, which is ooh. Metaphor is all about establishing democracy and these eight different races and these different caste system, and I go into Dragon Age Veilguard immediately, and then they say stop the Dark Elf. This is just not that interesting or exciting to me.
Sometimes you just kick the door in and finish. There you go. Just so.
But right now, just
go fight the bad elf.
The few hour, the opening eye test with Dragon Age, I wouldn't if MG asked me, I was like, nah, I probably wouldn't buy it right now.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with any social issues stuff. It's the game's just, it hasn't moved the needle. I might wait for a sale if you're interested. That's how I am right now. Maybe it changes over time, but that's usually was the conversation we'd have. And now it's just everything else. And it's let's talk about all these games and then let's not play any of them. It's just so weird to me. I don't get it.
The whole discourse around the concurrence about Veilguard 2 is a little weird too, because I think people are forgetting that BioWare games haven't really sold all that crazy
they haven't
in the back in the day. People need to remember the Mass Effect trilogy has sold 20 million total. Horizon Zero Dawn 1 has sold 24 million. The Mass Effect trilogy is not that big. It was big back when we were kids, right? It was like Harry Potter. It was like Lord of the Rings for video games, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mass Effect 2 came out. That was crazy.
Yeah, I loved it, and it was a whole event. But the impact is not that big.
Yeah, I don't really know how it eventually. I feel like eventually this whole thing slows, fizzles, whatever, fizzles out. But it's strange now, man. It's not great. So, anything you want to add, MVG?
Nah.
that's probably the right move.
We can move on.
I'll already get yelled at in the comments.
Yeah.
Just be careful where you get your information. I'll say that.
Man, come on.
Online. Be careful. Think about it a little bit.
And
Think
just
about
like
this a
I don't
little
know,
bit.
just think a little critically. Look up other legal documents and compare that to this. Like the whole legal document thing. If it is real and someone actually thought that they were cooking by writing this up or whatever like that, I feel like that there's just been a lot of people who just got first exposed to like the legal process during like either the Amber Heard Johnny Depp hearings or the Xbox FTC hearings, and they were just paying attention to that and just like, oh well, I know all about legalese stuff, not realizing that we pay lawyers more than we pay our doctors to deal with this shit. There's a reason why we pay lawyers more than the people who cured me of cancer. Because this shit is really confusing.
Yep. There are absolutely conversations to have around social issues being forced into games, we can say. But man, the people doing it now are just not equipped for it. And the people who would be equipped, I'll tell you now, I've heard from some of them, don't care to be part of it.
Yep.
So that's all I'll say on that. Let me go to... Oh, I did want to bring this up, just so everyone feels old for a moment. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is 20 years old now.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
20 years, which it's actually pretty impressive to consider that, since how, when it came out on the PS2, it was pretty crazy. It was that moment of how is this even possible on a game system? But then to go back and think it's been 20 years since that came out is mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
But what a game still. You can still play it now. And it's still fun. I don't know if it's held up completely because we've seen what else they can do with newer technology, but it's still an impressive game, still a fun experience. And the only unfortunate thing is some of the remasters they've done haven't been great. But if you have a PS2 and you pop it in, sit on the floor, play it, it's good. It's good
The
time.
enduring legacy of CJ, continues on. CJ, there's a CJ mod for Silent Hill 2.
I've seen that looks awesome.
That's funny.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah, I saw streams like this is my first time playing Silent Hill 2, and their first time playing is with the CJ scan. I'm just like, oh my God, guys, you guys. I don't know.
That's
but
funny.
CJ lives on.
Keep winning.
There was the DBZ sparking one too, where it's they actually fuse like two of the characters and just become like a different model. It was so weird.
That's cool.
Okay, Call of Duty. Call of Duty released. We talked about it last time. MVG likes it. I like it. It's a fun game. Competitively, multiplayer, it's still that same sense of... it's competitive, sure, but it's not like, highly... Like you're tactically moving around with your team and stuff. It's just run and gun, blow stuff up, just fun.
It's so fast. It's so fast.
It's very fast this year, yeah.
Jesus.
Nuketown is out now. Actually, just came out Friday.
Oh,
so
cool.
that's we'll be checking that. I think I'm gonna check that out tonight. I believe we're gonna play some. Yep. Okay, good.
Yep.
MG's nodding. All right, good. So we're playing that. Still trying to get Josie on there. Just trying to work on that. We'll get there. But Call of Duty is the biggest launch they've ever had for a Call of Duty game. Number 1 total players, number 1 hours played, number 1 total matches. There apparently are stats going around that it sold actually significantly better even on PlayStation than last year, and pretty much across the board. There seems to have been a bump to Game Pass numbers from this too. And so it looks like Game Pass did not necessarily influence lower sales, but they still managed to get a bump to the subscription service from Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, last year's campaign was bad. It was really bad. Like the multiplayer was fine. We played Warzone a good bit with it, and I'm looking forward to Warzone this year. But the campaign this year is very good. MVG is almost done, I think.
I beat it last night.
He beat it. He beat it. Was it like a 9-ish hour campaign? 8-9 hour campaign?
About 10 hours for me, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Towards the end of the game, there's I didn't normally when I play campaign, I start on veteran because I've noticed in the last, or not in the last, but like ever since like Black Ops 2, Veteran has been stupid easy, but Veteran actually kicked my ass in this game. I had to drop the difficulty down. So I did beat the game, but yeah, it's those last couple of missions, man, they take a little bit to get through.
Good though. Good game.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Very good. I like it because I don't want to spoil the game. I mean, look, it's the campaign, so I don't even know if I'm spoiling it or not, if people care, but this one has a lot more about it's more espionage and spy based, where you don't have to always, like, all the missions you just go in with like machine guns and just gun everyone down. Like there's one mission where you're in like a casino and you got to basically do all these objectives. You got to get these gadgets and do this and do that and hack this server and then get this piece of here. And so there's definitely this really cool kind of espionage spy vibe to this game. There's that mission where you're at the Bill Clinton rally as well.
Yep.
That one, it's very similar to that, where you kind of go around and you just do all these like little mundane tasks to kind of set up the actual mission.
Right down the street, Union Station is right there, like 2 blocks down from where I live. Right there. I can't believe I'm just here in this game right now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth a look. It's not just the typical Call of Duty campaign.
Yeah.
I think they changed it up a bit, and people really like it. It's been received very well. I know that reviewers like the campaign. They're saying it's the best campaign in a long time, and they're using that word again, return to form. I've seen that thrown around a little bit, but
they use
NDA
in the review too.
NDA again,
yeah, but no, I like it. But yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. It's definitely a little more media than previous campaigns. They and they don't have to do this, because like, you know, you beat the game and you unlock that I beat the game achievement, and it's like,
what's that percentage, MVG?
1.3% of players unlock this achievement. So most people are going straight to the multiplayer, probably doing Warzone, doing zombies as well. No one's really into the campaign. So you could argue the fact that, well, do they really need to do this? And I know that in previous years, they've said, we don't care about the campaign as much, or we don't even care about it at all. And they've just made it like a 5-hour type deal. This one is really good. They kind of gone back to their roots a little bit, and it's great. I really do recommend people check out the campaign if you are jaded on Call of Duty. And it makes me excited for a game like Perfect Dark, where like there is all these like little gadgets and spy things and espionage, as well. So I don't know, man. Like, I liked it. I thought it was just going to be just a generic Call of Duty campaign, the Michael Bay type thing. This one was good. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you guys brought up the Return to Form thing, because I just quickly Googled Black Ops 6 and Return to Form. So Game Rant says Call of Duty Black Ops 6 feels like a return to form for Call of Duty Zombies. Game Rant 2 days ago said Call of Duty's Black Ops 6 campaign being a return to form is perfectly timed. Games Radar says both a return to form and a great entry point for new or lapsed players. Gaming Nexus says the campaign is a return to form for the franchise.
Gaming Nexus too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Digital Trends said thankfully Call of Duty Black Ops 6 looks like it will be a return to form for the iconic shooter franchise.
Wow.
Are we sure that these companies haven't all moved to ChatGPT and just didn't tell us?
Or says rather, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 feels like a return to form and an attempt to recapture the magic of those original Black Ops games.
What if there's one chat channel on like Twitter or Discord?
IGN.com says Black Ops 6 is a fantastic return to form for the series, allowing the designers at Raven to delve deep into their bag of tricks.
There's got to be that one chat channel where they post like, we're going to sneak this into all of our reviews, and we just accidentally.
Okay, Gene, did you get to see the press kit for this return to form game?
No.
Did you sign the Notepad NDA?
No. Do you think that it had that in the press release?
Oh,
because there are words that like we'll use that are key points of how you should be phrasing the game, and that's intentionally used in these like press briefings, and everyone must have used it, and great job on their PR team. But that could have been something. I actually have a friend on PR, so I'm totally gonna ask her and find out.
What if that bled over to
I'm
Dragon
texting her
Age
right now.
reviews? Like, what if this is what poisoned that well for Dragon Age? They just
Well,
saw it there and we're like, let's keep going.
The good news is Call of Duty is available on Game Pass as well. So if you have Game Pass, it's worth a download at least for the campaign, even if you're not into the multiplayer. So I think it's a good look there.
So
But
here's
if-
what I have. Black Ops 6 is back, featuring an
That's
all-new narrative campaign.
It's all you got to say. It's all you got to say. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You have to say return to form.
Yeah, return to form is just like, just say
Yeah.
it's back. We're still back, baby.
Break out the code red. It's number one total players, number one hours played, number one total matches. I think a lot of it has to do with the Black Ops name. Black Ops is just incredibly popular.
Yeah.
Like whenever they go back to it, it's like that break glass moment. It's like
Also,
we know this is gonna do well.
nobody saw my story, but the Call of Duty franchise is now at 500 million sales.
Wow.
Whoa.
500 million sales
For like the whole
for the
franchise.
entire
That's
thing.
crazy.
For the whole franchise,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Lifetime.
Wow,
So
man.
this is before Black Ops 6. I had to clarify that. But so there are no hard numbers for Black Ops 6. But before last week's launch, it's at half a billion now. So
That's crazy.
just under Mario, around the same as Pokemon and I don't know, Grand Theft Auto.
That's pretty impressive.
It's under,
That's pretty
under there,
impressive.
too.
Keeps rolling. Hey, I mean I guess that pickup's worked out well for Microsoft so far with Activision, at least on their books.
Mhm.
Seems to be pumping up their numbers pretty well.
Do you think it's going to move the Game Pass needle, Gene?
I don't know. I mean, they said record numbers for Starfield too, right? Last
They
year.
Mm.
They did. But
They need-
we haven't seen an updated number from that plateau 34 million.
But this is the game, right? This is the game that Satya is very interested in. Like this has to be it.
This is the great experiment.
Yeah.
This is it.
If this doesn't land for them, next year
It's over.
maybe
It's over. I think we could probably put a pin on gaming subscription services at that point, right?
Game Pass goes
yeah,
the way of Stadia.
Yeah,
Mm,
they need
probably,
the velocity needs to pick up for their onboarding because it's they needed what, like 100. They were trying to get 100 some odd million people on board in like 4 years or something. So yeah,
34 million, and a lot of those are just grandfathered in from the regular Xbox Live
Yeah.
Gold, whatever, right? So it was
Yeah.
really only
I have Core, Game Pass Core, right? Which is just the Xbox Live Gold.
Mhm.
Do they count me as a Game Pass
Yep.
member?
yes,
I think we would have to, yeah, because they just grandfathered all of us in. Because I'm owning Core now too. I just gave up on Game Pass. I don't care
Which,
about it.
in a similar
Same.
vein, is why Sony was trying to get people on PC to sign up for the PlayStation Network stuff for their games. They want to just bloat the numbers.
it's all
Yep,
a numbers
exactly.
game with monthly active users. That's how it works.
That's just what this society is these days, man. It's just all
Line goes
numbers,
up.
and just showing the numbers,
Line goes up.
and you goose the numbers for a little bit. I'm a victim of Facebook's fake numbers. When they kept telling us about how all the video feeds were doing, and I believed in that stuff. I feel like an idiot to this day.
So someone revealed that if you scroll past it, they give them a view. You don't even look at it. You're like,
yeah, it was just all
"Oh."
lies, So, and I feel like an idiot to this day that I believed him and I actually invested so much in that platform. It's just all bullshit.
Let's go over to Sony, as they have now shut down Firewalk and Neon Koi. Now, I will quickly read this. This was an email that was sent out, and then it was published on the Sony Interactive website from Herman Holst. They say, we consistently evaluate our games portfolio and status of our projects to ensure we are meeting near and long-term business priorities. As part of our ongoing efforts to strengthen SIE's studio business, we have had to make a difficult decision relating to two of our studios, Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios. Now, of course, Firewalk, which we'll briefly touch on Neon Koi here in a minute, but I think a lot of people were mostly noticing that it was Firewalk was the big one here that has been shut down because obviously they were behind Concord, which Concord got pulled down after like a week or so, and they issued refunds. If you have a physical copy, I guess you either had to send it back or held on to it, which I actually have a copy of it, strangely. And at this point, it just seems like, I guess they did not have a way to bring back Concord, and they pretty much writing it off now as what I have to imagine is a substantial loss, which we had some information around the budget being followed up by Kotaku, which we can get into. But is anyone actually surprised that Firewalk's been shut down here and they've decided to do nothing with Concord? Because some were wondering if they would even try to bring it back.
I'm not surprised. I think this is the plan all along, where it was. I don't want to say the words, let everyone down, gently, but once that game was pulled and it had disappeared, I think the writing was on the wall at that point. Really, I didn't really feel like there was going to be any type of recourse to get this game back, unfortunately. So I don't know. I just felt like once it was gone, it was really only a matter of time. But I think that the thing that none of us really expected was how fast it happened, right? Like, with literally within, I guess, 4 to 6 weeks after the game came and went, it just, the studio is gone. And I think that's the real unfortunate part of this whole thing, that there is a human aspect to it. Once again, where, you're in a situation where basically studios have one chance to make a game that is a hit. And if you fuck it up, then your studio is gone. We saw it with Callisto Protocol. We've seen it with this. And it's not going to be the last time, unfortunately, I don't think. But it seems very heavy-handed that Sony just came in and just stopped everything to do with Concord and just killed the studio off. But it's just, we have to remember that Sony is just that big corporate overlord, like these other companies that have to make hard decisions. But very, very sad, unfortunate. I wish Concord had more of a chance. I bought the game when I was in Australia, and when I came back, I played it for a couple of days. I didn't hate the game. I was actually getting into it, and when they said the game was getting pulled, I started grinding a little bit to see if I could get some achievements as well, or some trophies to unlock. But at the end of the day, look, I think this was and I'm going to say 200 million, not 400 million. I'm going to say this was a $200 million mistake by Sony, and here we are.
I mean, it's a $200 million write-off now. I feel like, once the writing was on the wall, I think they've had plans that they were going to close it for a really long time, because those aren't split decisions. So It's just one of those. I know we haven't touched on it yet, but like one company I do feel bad for is Neon Koi, because I don't think, did they, John, you might actually have more context on this. Did they announce what game they were exactly working on, or what edition it would have been to Concord, if that's something that they were working on for?
Well, Neon Koi, they said, was working on an action mobile game. So they were originally Savage Studios. They changed to Neon Koi, I believe, and they were going to be making the first, like, they were technically Sony's first mobile studio. And that was the idea, was for them to start building up like that wing of the business. Mm-hmm. And all I can assume is, okay, well, they actually said it in a different way. From what I gathered, which, here we go. They say, while mobile remains a priority growth area for the studio business, we are in the very early stage of our mobile efforts. To achieve success in this area, we need to concentrate on titles that are in line with PlayStation Studios' pedigree and have the potential to reach more players globally. They go on to say it's a mobile action game, and it sounds like the game was not good. At least that was their evaluation.
That's a bummer. I tried looking up Neon Koi to see like what they had done before, or Mm-hmm. I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, that they may have been a studio that was formed to do pitches like this, and like with the intention of getting acquired. That's what it kind of looked like, because like sometimes that'll happen. Like people don't realize, like you'll form a studio and you'll make a portfolio of like game pitches of things that you want to create, and either you'd get acquired or find funding with an IP to like slap on there and develop the game. So I guess like their goal was half successful, because Sony did acquire them. But like, unfortunately, after they bit, that's the risk of it, of getting shut down if it's not up to standards. But I am curious what it would have been. It would have been interesting to at least to know what IP
they were founded. They were founded in 2020. So yes. And then they were acquired very quickly after that.
Yeah. It was with the intention then, which is cool. I'm curious what their pitch was to get acquired. Those can be tricky sometimes.
When I read action game on phone, that just doesn't mix to me. The touch screen, and it's just the idea of pick up and play nature for a phone game. It's difficult to make that work. I feel like for something action oriented, where you're holding it in portrait mode and just moving stuff around with your thumb. So maybe it was the hang up with that. Hey, we're gonna make this big PlayStation Studios quality game, and we're going to try to fit it down to this screen with limited control options. That's all I can assume happened. Yeah. But with Firewalk, you guys mentioned $200 million mistake. I will say this, Kotaku actually did follow up with some of the information we had with the estimates that put it at the roof of like $400 million, something crazy for it, right? Well, Kotaku did follow up with this and said the initial development deal for the game was just over $200 million, according to two sources familiar with the agreement, but who are not authorized to speak publicly about it. But Kotaku understands that amount was not enough to cover the game's entire development, and it did not include the purchase of Concord IP rights or Firewalk Studios itself or the marketing. So it seems like the development was above 200 million, right? So let's just say it was like 250 million or something like that. Then you have the marketing, which I want to say Concord's marketing wasn't overwhelming, but they have a show on Amazon coming up. So who knows what all that.
Here's the thing. A lot of influencers also play Concord, but nobody talks about that because nobody watched those streams.
That's right.
But there were dozens and dozens of creators trying to push Concord. It's just that nobody cared, and they hit really, really good big streamers. But just nobody talks about it. So
I kind of feel like if you take that into account, and then Concord and Firewalk purchase, it probably was all in above 400 million. But that's if you include the purchase price for Firewalk and everything else. Which at this point, anything related to Firewalk and Concord is just lost money. Like it doesn't, to me, the development versus the acquiring the IP and stuff, it's a wash. Then I don't. What are you going to do with it at this point? Concord, the name is so tainted at this point. You can't, like, you're going to do a spin-off for it. I don't even think there's any IP value there anymore either.
Did you see that Probably Monsters, the original parent company of Firewalk Studios, just laid off 50 people the other day? That's like their only other team that they have at Probably Monsters. So and Probably Monsters, if you don't know, look up Probably Monsters. They actually just deleted all their videos on YouTube. And that was and I only noticed because I watched those videos a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about Battle Barge, the game that these 50 developers were working on, and it's all gone. Probably Monsters has not released a single game. They have not finished a single project. So something's going on there, and look it up. It's all former Bungie folks. Harold Ryan is the owner, and a lot of like the general managers former Bungie, a lot of former Bungie folks just went off and created this new company that was that was pushing this message of inclusivity and just like working with each other and having a collaborative atmosphere. And they just haven't produced anything. They haven't finished a single project. It's just there's something going on there, and it seems like they were just more than happy to get rid of Firewalk,
You know what I'd like to see happen, Gene, is so in, say, for example, like football, right? Professional football, there's what they call coaching trees, where it's like this coach has an assistant and another assistant and then this assistant, and they go off and they then run their own teams. And like you have like almost this family tree of coaches and stuff. I almost want to see what Bungie's coaching tree looks like, because I feel like I keep hearing that, oh, this place had Bungie personnel running it. This place had Bungie people working at it. I'm like,
there's something about Bungie, man.
Plays are everywhere, and it's just I keep hearing, unfortunately, bad stories linked to them in terms of just running the business. It's very strange.
Yeah, either running a business or selling a business off and just running off with the money. Something has strange been going on in Bungie for the last few years, and I think we're only just now seeing the results of it, and that includes the garbage fire at, I guess, Probably Monsters too, and Firewalk.
Yeah, it seems like Sony, they said they're going to keep trying with their live service stuff. So sounds like they got fair games coming up. I don't know how everyone feels about that right now.
Is that the Jade Raymond game?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So, hey, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what we get. At least it's in that category of like the heist Payday stuff, and Payday 3 fell on its face. So maybe it can work its way in there. I don't know. We haven't even seen gameplay for it yet. So who knows? Who knows? We've seen one like cinematic trailer that showed us, I guess, the color palette and the tone for it. And I don't know. Maybe it'll come out next year. We'll see. But
You know where I just want to rant a little Sean style rant here, but you know what really grinds my gears is, and a lot of my friends have been saying this too. MVG, for example, one here, Skill Up, with his latest video about the Concord news, and even my own friends, Colin and Chris Reagan over at Last Time Media Sacred Symbols. One thing people always keep saying is Concord was an abject failure, but it was technically a good game. And I just really like disagree completely, because I played a lot of Concord. I played a whole lot of Concord. I tried to understand and enjoy the rivalry mode. And here's my nitpick with everybody who says it's technically a good game. I've never seen anyone who says that actually accurately describe what rivalry mode was about. And I feel like it's a third of the game, and it's also the marquee mode of the game, the only unique one. That's the one that they actually cited in Firewalk's closing message when they say we try to mix aspects of a card battler and a fighting game. That's all there in rivalry mode. It's just a bad mode. So I think, for example, like if a third of your game is bad, and this is the mode that everyone was trying to play at the end and killing themselves to get the achievements, because they didn't even like the mode. They just wanted the achievements. You know, so it's a third of the game, and nobody wanted to play it. Nobody engaged with it, and it failed to draw anybody. You know, so that's why like my argument is that Skill Up says in his video, which was so cringe. You know, and again, Skill Up is a friend of mine. I love Ralph, but it was so cringe when he said this. When he said, "I hope history looks back at the fact that Concord is actually technically a good game," and I'm like, no, Ralph. It was not a good game.
So
I
will say I didn't actually play that mode very much, Gene.
There you go. See?
Because I just kind of just
Team
played.
Deathmatch was good. When you're only playing Team Deathmatch, that's where I get where people are saying, "Yeah, it's technically good." Because when I played it, it was technically good. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. But you're absolutely right. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the game was 8 years too late. You know, I think it could have been something. At the time, you know, when it was, you know, an idea that they were, you know, coming up with, but ultimately we're way past, you know, what a good kind of hero shooter is these days, and I feel like Concord just missed the window by a long stretch to really make its mark. I mean, you bring up some really good points about, you know, the mode that no one played. I think my thing at the end of the day is, the game is gone, it's dead. But it would be really nice if there was just a way for the community to keep playing it in some fashion. You know, that's the part that kind of gets me. It's like, this game is dead and we'll never hear about it again. I have a disc that has, I guess, some game files on it, but it's obviously not complete. And that's that. You know, it's going to end up like being like, you know, Lawbreakers and you know, all those other games that kind of were given a chance to shine and they just, you know, failed. And unfortunately, those games are just lost forever, you know.
You know what's kind of sad about Concord, though? I will say this, the thing that is unfortunate, the pitch that it's better to pay for a game and not have to worry about microtransactions wasn't enough for it to even be somewhat interesting to people. It's like, I know the game itself wasn't necessary. Like, there are other things to play around it that are free, but when you look at it and you go, okay, they both are kind of the hero shooter stuff, it just... people never talked about like the idea of, oh, we'll buy the game and there won't be obscene microtransactions or stuff. Honestly, the mainstream is just like, whatever, free to play, microtransactions ever, who cares? And it's an unfortunate thing to see in gaming, because that's just going to be the norm still going forward. Zero barrier of entry. It gets you on the back end with the $20 to $30 skins. And that's just, it works. So yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that does suck. And yeah, to MVG's point, it sucks that this game is just completely ghosted, and Sony is just trying almost try to kind of gaslight Concord. What Firewalk? What happened?
Yeah, they hand waved it. People got really upset, and then the next day people received their PS5 Pros, and people don't even remember the game anymore.
Yeah, we're getting our PS5 Pros next week. You know, yeah, exactly. Right. And Astrobot came out, and then they released the 30th anniversary.
Overnight shipped. That's weird.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah. I do want to go over to the good community here who left us all kinds of comments on the last video. and actually the mailbag over on the Patreon, since we always have questions and stuff from the good viewers out there who actually seem to like Celia a lot. Celia's very popular in the comments. There are like hundreds of upvotes saying that people were very happy. Celia, you're on weekly now.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And thanks for your nice comments. That's really
This
sweet.
is from Celia, this is from Pride in Gaming, who says, I appreciate having Celia's takes on the Spawncast. It's great having this much variety in the show every week now.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This one's from, these are all comments, by the way, from the last podcast on YouTube. This is from Wonden's Throne saying Analog would have better luck making an FPGA Dreamcast, which I do want to ask you this, MVG, very quick with this in mind. I don't think the FPGA is the issue necessarily. Would it be that GD-ROM format readings? That's something that was brought up by that Super Sega team. Like, the issue isn't that, it's the GD-ROM. We can have you read stuff off the SD card, but that file format, that CD type is the problem.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do FPGA for a CD-based device like a PlayStation, which they already exist, you would just load the games off SD card anyway, right? So I don't think, if you're going to accurately recreate an FPGA device. I know Analog did the Turbo Duo, so they have done this before, where you can put an original disc in and it runs FPGA. I would never have really imagined you would do that with Dreamcast, because you can't copy. I mean, I guess you could download those Echelon rips from the internet, the CD ones, and burn them on CDRs and do it that way. But then what would be the point? Like, if you want to play, if you've got like an analog Dreamcast and you want to play original discs, I don't think there's any real way to do that, because that's all proprietary Sega stuff. I don't even know if you can buy lasers that would read those discs anymore, honestly. So I think the way that they would probably try to market that would be, I don't know actually how you would do that, to be honest, because you're basically telling people download ROMs off the internet, and Sega wouldn't be too happy about that. They're starting to get a little bit litigious now themselves. They're going after people too. So I'm not sure how they would feel about something like that at that point. So that's an interesting one, though. The GD-ROM stuff would definitely be a sticking point for an FPGA Dreamcast if they were trying to sell it and make it kind of above board, so it wouldn't get the attention of Sega or whoever else,
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking. That might be the hang up, isn't necessarily the getting the system, the core system to work. It's how to get the media to work on it. Here you go, MVG. This is from King Tree Freak. Why don't you keep that name in mind? Going to be asking interesting questions to MVG on the meet and greet in New York City LRG pop-up. So for people that don't know, MVG, where are you going to be next weekend?
I will be in Soho next week in New York City at the Limited Run Games and Spotify pop-up. It's on, I believe it's on Friday. I'm going to get my calendar up because I want to butcher it. It's Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th. There will be a lot of people there. There'll be some special guests. I know Greg Miller's going to be there. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are going to be there on Saturday. So there's going to be a lot of people there. So if you're in New York City, come check it out.
I was going to go there.
I think I might take a train up there.
You should.
I didn't know this was happening, but
I will say that I'll be there on Friday. I'm leaving Saturday morning, so I won't be there on the Saturday. So I'll be there I'll be in New York on the 8th. On the 6th. So Gene, if you're in town, you want to grab a drink or grab a bite, just hit me up. But yeah,
maybe I'll try to stop by on the 7th or 8th. It'll be right after the election, so I mean we'll have to see if my city is still standing. So
that's a good point.
I'm excited to see what happens. I can't wait.
Well, I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll just.
If January 6th happens again, I might go.
Set up the bunker. But yeah, shout out to the comment section last week. You guys did good. We will check in again next week and see how you do this time. Okay, we'll see. Let me go over to the mailbag. This is over on the Patreon. I do want to start at the top. This was from if Mystic was here. He's not here. Varang, what I will do though is I'll save that for the next Click R3, which will actually be our PlayStation 5 Pro episode. And we're actually going to have, I think, Nano come back because he's getting PS5 Pro as well. But I will save this question of Varang for that episode. Moving from there, though, we do have Kale, who's asked, with Xenoblade X, NSO titles, and Nintendo Music getting Twitter announcements, do you think we already saw the last focused direct for the Switch? Like, do you think we've already seen it? So like we won't have another Switch focused direct, because I think people are looking at the recent announcements as things they may have tried to compile into a larger presentation. If there were other stuff to throw in there, but there wasn't. So let's just go ahead and spread these out on Twitter.
Who is that question directed to?
Pretty much anyone. Do you think you're going to see another Switch direct, or do you think we're done with it for now?
Who knows, man? Nintendo's still making stuff. You know, they're still focusing on the Switch. So I don't know. You know, you can't rule it out, can you? You know, we just got the announcement of Xenoblade this week, so they could just drop a direct early next year, like, and just go along their business like nothing ever even happened. So I don't know. I've stopped really kind of focusing on what Nintendo's doing next. I'm just kind of going to sit back and just let them just, you know, show us what they got.
We have next week, November. Let's see. Next week, 4th and 5th is actually Nintendo's financial report. So if they make an announcement, typically it's around then, like they did with the Zelda movie, for example. You might have another announcement like that. I would hold off any hopes and dreams of next gen stuff at this point and think, oh, maybe they'll tell us who's acting in the movie or whatever, right? It could be something like that, or a collaboration with Lego.
The unveil of the Super Mario Brothers movie cast is just like top 5, one of the funniest things.
But that's the kind of stuff they could do around, you know, things like that, things that are, because their big focus, while they are doing a lot of game stuff, man, they are really looking around at other forms of media right now to reach more people. So and I feel like investors really like that. So it wouldn't shock me if they said, hey, here's this other movie we're doing. Here's the other addition to the theme park. Here's plans we have with collaborations for companies outside of gaming. So it's just, that seems like investor kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I would look at. This is from Medallion, who says, I have been enjoying the newest lineup of people on Spawncast from Josie, Celia, and Ryan. But is there a chance we can have a special reunion of the old and new and a huge Spawncast like the old days? Do the other cast members know of your change of format to pre-recorded and you no longer film on Saturdays? Have they expressed interest in returning, if only for a one-off here or there? Yes, they have. And I think we will eventually do that. I thought about it'd be fun, like do some big reunion episode or something someday, like maybe next year to start off or something. I don't know. We'll play around with it, but yeah, still got everyone on the horn. This is from Will, who says, can you do it? MVG, you have that. Can you do a comparison between the RetroTink 4K and Morph 4K? You have the RetroTink 4K, don't you?
Yeah, I don't have the Morph though.
Here do I.
Plus, the RetroTink is god tier. I don't really need any other scalers, honestly.
I need to get that RetroTink 4K.
It is absolute god tier. And Mike Chi, he is a magician. And if there's some weird obscure console or computer from like 1993 that it's not supported right, he'll fix it, or someone in the community will fix it and provide a config for it, and it's working. So I don't have the more 4K, so unfortunately I'm not really the right person to talk to about it.
Yeah, I keep looking at it. I know it's an expensive piece. It is, but I keep looking at it like, maybe I have a lot of those HDMI equipped systems now, you know, from all the mods I've done over the years. And it seems like it works really well with that. You plug it in and then pushes it up to 4K. Maybe. This one's from Joe McKenna, who says, if you could pick any IP from any genre for a Lego style game, what would you choose? Lego style game. What IP would I want to see mixed? Got her Lego Horizon that's coming up here pretty soon.
You know, as a Halo fan, you know, John.
Just Tenchu.
Oh, Tenchu, yeah, any Tenchu, Lego Tenchu.
Halo. I'll say you do a first-person Lego game. That would actually be kind of interesting.
Yeah, a first-person Lego game, and then just get away from that Mega Bloks partnership that Halo's had for God knows how long.
Yeah,
and it was cool stuff. The Mega Block stuff, you know, no Halo Mega Bloks. But if Halo really wants to grow that IP, it's got to be a first-person Lego shooter. That'd be sick,
right?
I have a pitch: Lego Sims or like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh,
I like builder games, and I
No
like
way.
Lego because I like building stuff. I really like Legos. I'm just too cheap to buy all the sets, to be honest.
yeah, Lego Animal
this-
Crossing or something, right?
Yeah, like I love just like building things and like combining that with like Life Sim of Animal Crossing or like anything of the sort would be so fun to me.
Lego Yakuza, hell yeah.
Oh, I would play that too. Lego Nintendogs, if we're just throwing things in there.
Oh yeah. Sean's gone, so we can frequently gush about Nintendo.
Yeah, you guys can have fun now. Sean's
They're
gone.
so cute. Did you ever play any of the spin-off games that weren't Nintendogs, but it was like
Talking about
cats
the Ubisoft
and
ones that are weird.
hamster? Yeah, there was a hamster one. I played that. It's not good,
Like
but
the
I
babysitter one or
Yes,
something. Like they
it.
had so many weird ones.
there's a lot of weird
I
ones.
never played those.
Let's see. David says, seeing as in 2016, Nintendo had to have a Switch reveal to assure the brand wasn't in jeopardy, and their holiday was not something that was existential back then, in jeopardy. And that they still had things coming, and now Switch and Nintendo brand and holiday is strong. Then why did so many places run with the idea that they could have a reveal to cannibalize Nintendo's holiday this year? Is it because sources need content to report on, and or they are too lazy or scared to investigate the source? Well, there's a lot. There's definitely obviously an interest in Switch 2 stuff, and sometimes it can be kind of overdone. That's from what you see online. There's a lot of that, right? A lot of excitement around the idea, but also at times you try to force.
Was it like this for the NX back then? Because I was very, reminder for folks who think that I've been in the games industry for so long. I've only been in the games industry since the end of 2019. So I was pretty tapped out on like the discourse and the media. But was it like this for NX, like this rampant speculation? It had to have been, right? I was watching Etika. That's where I was getting my Nintendo Switch news.
The build up for it was odd because no one knew if it was a console or this hybrid setup. So there was actually a lot of fighting over that. Like basically there was one side that was like it's hybrid, the other side was like it's a console, and there was actually like legit clashing, and like it got kind of bad there for a while. And it all eventually got to the point where they did their obviously their reveal for it. And we have some legendary.
Just looking back, like why? What are you arguing? Like why is it an argument?
Some very good streams about that reveal.
Facts,
Well, we were even trying to figure out if it was NVIDIA or AMD, and some people were like real adamant that it was AMD, right? And it was that the home console versus hybrid. So we don't actually have that this time. It's just kind of like, when are they going to show what we already kind of get? We have an idea, looking at it and what they've sort of at least kind of looked at and said, hey, we're going to reveal that, the successor for it or whatever before the fiscal year. It's like, well, okay, they see success with this. Why would they go into a console now? So there's not really like arguing over that. It's just more the, as this person saying here, it's just more the speculation feels unnecessary at times with the amount of it that happens.
Totally.
So
totally, yeah. Especially now since Nintendo is in a safe space. Yeah. Like this.
Yeah. I think they're going to, like, next week we'll see some of their numbers. I don't think I think they're going to lower their forecast. I think they're going to miss by a fair amount. So the reason with the holiday sales, cannibalization, whatever, I don't think they're going to hit their target anyway. I think they'll turn in some numbers here coming up that'll be like, well, may have to pull that 13 million back a little bit. So that's all. But hey, 10 million in year 8. It's pretty impressive. Okay, I think that's everything actually for this week. I already talked to BG Broken Games because he had to drop out. His connection wasn't great where he is. I think we're gonna have him back on next week. So he'll be back around. That'll be the PS5 Pro
BG. He's one of the few people, even though I disagree with him like maybe like 60% of the time. I always respect like where he's coming from, his energy. He's very toxic too. It's very funny where he's like, I'm hoping for some people to get laid off. It's well, like, I never hear anyone talk like that. That's interesting to me. So.
I will give him this. He's very upfront and straightforward, and that's one of the reasons I get a kick out of some of his discussions. I'll tune into the Weapon Wheel as well, so people should check that out because you didn't get a chance to plug it. Weapon Wheel
is very fun. Yeah, go check that out too. So
I won't be on next week, by the way. I'll be in New York.
Yeah. You have to check in with King Tree Freak MVG.
I will.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
RSVP by the way, MVG. So we'll see.
Yeah, if you can.
This stuff looks cool.
Yeah.
I never got Doom Eternal physical, and I would like those Tomb Raider boxes. So.
Yeah, and there's apparently, I'm not trying to make FOMO or anything, but apparently there's some variants that are out there as well that are going to be here. You have my number, Gene. I have yours. So yeah, if you're going to be in town, let me know.
Yeah, I'll think about it over the weekend.
Do you need a sign MVG to hold up that says King Tree Freak on it so they can find you?
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay. Well, King Tree Freak, if you're listening to this now, get ready. Okay. MVG will be there Friday. Go check them out. People should go out and see MVG. It should be fun. LRG pop up, have all kinds of cool stuff going there. A little mini party, meet and greet. Yeah. So go have fun.
Like Stephen King, kick of Night Dive Studios, Gab Smulders. Cool.
Steve's going to be there. Yep. There's going to be some people there. Should be fun.
I like how you're showing up as like a creator, like
as a YouTuber.
Like, as a YouTuber and modern vintage gamer, as opposed to the developer.
Well, tell them you're watching on the
As I made some of these games, you know.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Let me go around here. Celia, where can all the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm Celia B with 3 E's. You can also find me on Game and Talk, which is a really fun channel that we talk about Nintendo things on. And then also I have something else to plug. Can I plug it here? Is this the place? Yes, I'm assuming so. For work,
yes.
I'm plugging. I don't know. I forget. I'm here every week, but I forget. And then lastly, Shovel Knight concert. It's in 2 months. Whoa, we have 2 showings. One's in LA, one is in New York. The LA one's in January 19th, and February 22nd for the New York one. It's going to be really cool. We have a bunch of announcements coming up about it, but it's going to be a great time, and the crew will be there as well. So go see it, get tickets. They're available now. Okay, that's my spiel.
Meet you in New York in February then. I'll show up for that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, sure. It'll be awesome.
I want to bring this up very quickly. We talked to Celia about this, and she's like, I don't know if people would really be that interested. We floated the idea of her making like dedicated videos here and there for Game and Talk's channel, and like one was about Alarmo, right? Like, what if Celia like reviewed Alarmo? You're like, well, I would probably just film it with my phone. I don't know if people would care to watch it. I 100% people would care to see it. I think they'd have a blast with it. I do.
Okay, I appreciate that. We'll see. I do have plans to film an Alarmo one, like all dumb, because my friend has like this really cool. I asked her if I could use her house because her house looks really pretty. It looks like it's set. Like my house is very unhinged. I have just a bunch of random places. So if I do, it's going to be on a fake set. But as for videos, I don't know. It would be cool. I don't know. I feel like things I would talk about.
Make a channel. You should make a channel.
We see. People should comment and let me know if I should or not.
Okay.
And if they'll actually watch it, though. Like, actually, for realsies. Okay.
Okay. Gene, where can I find you?
You can find me on X the Everything app at Gene Park. You can find me on Blue Sky at Gene Park as well. I am starting to use that more, only because I'm not leaving Twitter. I'm not one of those people who always say, "Oh, well, this is happening, so I'm leaving Twitter." I'm gonna stay in the cesspool with y'all. Don't worry. But I'm also on Blue Ski, as I like to pronounce it. You can find me on WashingtonPost.com. A lot of people. Oh, and you can also, of course, find me on Patreon.com/LastStandMedia, where I am a co-host of the Nintendo podcast Punchin' Up. We should have some of you on as guests too. That should be fun.
And you can also find me on big-time Nintendo person. Have Evan over. No, I was kidding. Go ahead.
You can find me at WashingtonPost.com. A lot of people have been asking me, in light of the whole Jeff Bezos unsubscribing thing, they're like, how can we support you without supporting the Washington Post? And I'm trying to figure out ways, but really the best way you can support me is still by supporting the Washington Post. If you want to make sure that I get credit for it, if you get a pop-up that says, hey, please subscribe or send in an email, do it on a story that has my byline. Do it on a Gene Park article, because I definitely get credit for that. And the company sees that, and I actually get credit for it. I actually get praise for it. But like, yeah, this week Gene was actually huge in converting subscribers, and people recognize that. So I want you to know that if you do that, you're going to help me specifically, at least. You know, you're not just paying Bezos. Bezos doesn't need your money. He doesn't care about how many people unsubscribe from Amazon Prime or Washington Post or anything like that. But if you want to support me, you can do that. So thanks so much, and thanks, John, for having me on.
Thank you for joining us, MVG.
You can find me on X, formerly Twitter, at Modern Vintage G. I also have a Blue Sky account, which I poke my head into occasionally. So you can check me out there. And obviously YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. Video coming out on Monday. Next week, I'll probably cover the PS5 Pro whenever that arrives at my house. And thanks for having me on. I won't be on next week again, but thanks for having me on, John.
Okay, Evan, we got over there on the channel.
Yeah, you can find me at Kimrick's Project. If you're into tabletop gaming and stuff, we finished up some little projects for painting and stuff, Halloween and all that. But should have a new video Monday, going over another year one team, and then hopefully I can start churning out even more going forward because there's been a lot of crazy things happening.
Evan's currently on the push to 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
people should check him out. He's making the move. He's more than 7,500 subscribers up. So go check him out there. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next Saturday, and that should be our PS5 Pro episode because it'll have been out by then, and I'll have like a day or two with it, along with some of the people on there. So it should be good to get some first impressions. Go check MVG out in New York City. All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye.